Hello world, this is Alan Jones again with another edition of Sunday Sit Down. Last week we spoke about how the supply and demand play a role in relationships in modern society, in the mobile society, and the larger topics of the economics of relationships. This week, as promised, I wanted to start to begin the discussion regarding what steps you can take. And getting into it got kind of lengthy, and I needed to split up women and men into two different sessions. So today, we'll be speaking to the ladies. First off, some of these points that I'll be making may be common sense to some of you, but I don't want to assume that everyone has the same life experience. So I'll be going through some of these. Some of these I hope will bring some insight to everyone. It'll be something insightful for everyone that's watching today. Okay? So the first thing I want to say is, this week we want to speak about some of the things that you can do to make, to improve your chances. For the women, I would say the first point that I'd like to make is to be open to men who make less than you, but not men who are willing to work less hard. I think that's the difference. There definitely is a difference. Everyone, if they want to be successful at anything, has to work hard. The second point that I'd like to make is for the young ladies is that you look for fulfillment in yourselves so that there's not such a burden on your potential mate. I think that, being with someone is great, but I think there's a fallacy from both the male and the female perspective in this country that your life partner is someone that can make you happy. If you're unhappy when you meet someone, being with them will provide some temporary relief, but it's not a panacea. It's not a solution. The second thing I would say is consider other marketplaces. We spoke last week about the mobile society and how there's a disparity with men and women between the different locales, between urban areas and rural areas that I've seen in my 14 years of traveling around this country. Consider that. I don't think that a man or a woman should move to chase a life partner. I don't believe in that. But I think that as this economy recovers, if there are opportunities to move and you're not happy in some of the locations we mentioned, Atlanta and LA and Miami, I think are worse. But just kind of be aware of what you're looking at the socioeconomic climate in those areas of median incomes, and just consider how that might improve your chances, or maybe be open to a small market location, realizing that maybe not even from a quantitative perspective, but from a lifestyle perspective of the kind of individual that you're looking for, it might be more compliant with what you want out of life. Next thing I would say is consider what you're advertising for and product placement. Okay, many a father has had this conversation with many a daughter, but by and large, I think you get what you advertise for. So product placement and market position and marketing approach, both, I think greatly impact, what you wind up with. If you're looking for the spontaneous buy, well, if you market yourself as a spontaneous buy, then, the level of commitment you get from that, someone that buys chewing gum, they're not committed to one flavor or the other. That's a spontaneous buy, whereas someone purchases a house, which is a thoughtful process that someone thought out and saved up for and worked for, okay, they're more committed to that location. Okay, so not to objectify women or objectify men, but I'm just saying in terms of putting it in an economic context of you as being a product, for instance, then, or branding yourself among the male society, that you need to consider that. Okay, are you a spontaneous buy or are you an investment? Okay, make it clear. Okay, next topic. Perhaps most importantly, I think it's important to identify your target market and buyers ready to buy. By identifying your target market, I think you need to put some thought into who it is you wish to attract. A little bit different than product placement. Product placement says being deliberate and intentional about where you place yourself. But I think even before you make that step, you have to figure out what kind of man do you want. What among your list of needs or / wants is most important to you, and where can you find these individuals? Now, before you get to the where, as I said, you need to sit down and think about who is your target market. Okay. For instance, I see so many women intelligent women who try to play dumb around men because they are trying to attract a certain man or a certain group of men who are challenged by their intellect and feel insecure. And I would say that's a perfect example of not playing to your strength or trying to be something you're not. In those instances, I think it's very important that a woman move on and say that that's not something that they're willing to do to dumb themselves down. There are plenty of men out there that appreciate an intelligent woman. And regarding customers ready to buy, this goes back to a whole nother point, which will be a whole nother blog point, is how women seek to change a man. Men pretty much, if you're looking for marriage or a committed relationship, men pretty much don't enter committed relationships or get married until they're ready, contrary to what Hollywood may tell us all. You know, I can speak from personal experience on that. I know several other guys, and just this whole changing of a man, like if Hollywood says, well, you meet someone, they fall in love, and then they were a single swinging bachelor, and all of a sudden they want to settle down. That's not how it works. Once a man gets, you know, has had his share of the single life or the uncommitted life, and then he makes up a decision, and then he goes looking for a wife. Very old school. I don't know that it's expressed, it's not sexy, but that's just how men are. Men aren't going to settle down until they're ready to settle down, okay? And they're not going to necessarily even look for wife material until they're ready to look for a wife. The other thing about regarding to buy, whenever you purchase something, you want to feel comfortable with the product that you're buying. And where that comes into play in relationships is that, you know, friends and friends of friends have a greater comfort with you. Now, they may not be digging on you, okay? I'm not saying that. And all your male friends are digging on you. No, don't get that twisted. But of those that are, if they should decide that they want to make a move on you, they'll be less hesitant to commit. Friends of friends or friends, someone that you've developed a relationship with over time, that they know you, they know what they're getting into, they feel like they can trust you, yada yada, you know, they can take you home to mama. You know, all those kind of things. You know, all the barriers that get thrown up between you just meet somebody, and you know, it's, you know, you have to wait 6 months before you're comfortable with each other enough to even think about the next step. Whereas with friends, it's kind of like, well, it doesn't take all that. You know each other, and on the flip side, you know what you're getting into. You know, warts and all the amazing things they do, and you know, you're willing to accept them as they are. And back to my earlier point, this whole of each party trying to change the other is pretty much a wasted effort. So friends and friends of friends, you know about them, you know what they do, you know their work ethic, you know if they talk about people, and you know, just you know if they're ready to buy. Bottom line. So that's an advantage. So you're not wasting your time. So in closing, I'd just like to say next week we'll be speaking about the same, what can men do who are interested in long-term relationships? What can they do to improve their chances? Putting everything in the context of market forces of supply and demand, and how market forces play a role in our dating lives. That will be next week. So thank you. And the week after that, we're going to talk about fidelity and infidelity and whether or not there are advantages to that. So we'll have that discussion then. But next week is for the fellas. So thank you. Everyone have a great day. I am going to enjoy some of this weather. Take care. Bye-bye. You might want to hear this. Bye-bye.